Good morning, guys. Today I'm going to go over the vocabulary V words, numbers 41 through 50. The first word that we have is exemplary. I'll say that one more time. Exemplary. Exemplary means the perfect example, the best of its kind. It's usually a compliment and it is usually telling or describing something about someone in a very positive way. So an example of that would be if you have an exemplary student, they are the perfect example of what a student should be. So a student who studies, who does well on tests, who listens, who participates, who works well with other students would be an exemplary student, the best of its kind, or a perfect example. Exemplary. The second word is extenuating. Extenuating. Extenuating means to make guilt less serious or more forgivable. An example of this would be if a student were to get in trouble by the principal or the vice principal, and then the vice principal decided, you know what, we're not going to give you a suspension. Instead, we are going to give you one detention because of extenuating circumstances, right? So what that means is, what extenuating circumstances means that there's something going on that makes your guilt not as serious, or you're more forgivable. Maybe those extenuating circumstances are because you are having a difficult time at home, maybe because you are sick, maybe because you're going through a difficult patch in your life. So that would make your guilt, whatever it is that you did wrong, less serious. Extenuating. The next word is florid. Florid means red-faced complexion or sometimes pink-faced. So when a person becomes flushed in their face, and what I mean by flushed is like their blood rushes to their face. That is described as a florid face. Oftentimes, people become florid when they're really embarrassed. Florid. The next word is fortuitous. Fortuitous. Fortuitous means lucky or fortunate. So an example of this would be if you're walking down the street and all of a sudden you find $10. That's a fortuitous find. Or if you are doing a lottery and your ticket is drawn and you win, you are fortuitous. Fortuitous. Next word, frugal. Frugal. Frugal means you're thrifty, that you are economical with money or food. And by economical or thrifty, we mean you don't spend a lot. It's a little bit different than cheap. Cheap kind of has a negative connotation. Frugal is a little bit more positive, okay? Someone who's really careful with their money or with food. An example of this would be if you're trying to save up all your money to buy something big later on, you might have to become frugal with your money in the meantime in order to really save your money. So that is an example of frugal. Frugal. Next word, and listen carefully, hackneyed. Hackneyed. Hackneyed means overused or cliched. Overused. Okay, like it's not original or it's becoming boring. A lot of times this is referred to with phrases such as the phrase "you only live once," which was shortened or abbreviated by YOLO. People don't say that phrase anymore because it was hackneyed. It was overused, and when things are overused, people lose interest in it. Music is the same thing. Fashion is the same thing. If If certain clothing or certain types of music become hackneyed, then it's overused. People don't like it as much. It's not as interesting. Hackneyed. Next word, haughty. Haughty. This is an adjective that describes someone who is arrogant, arrogant or condescending. So by this we mean someone that thinks they're above others, right? Arrogant, they think they're full of themselves, they think they know it all, they have big egos. An example of this would be if there's a teacher who thinks that they are always right, they might be described as haughty. Okay, they don't want to admit that they're wrong. They're kind of bossy. They think that they're walking on air. Haughty. Next word, hedonist. Hedonist. A hedonist is a person, or that should be who believes that the pursuit of pleasure is the most important thing in life. Right? So a hedonist is a person who only looks for things that are pleasurable, okay? Having fun, not helping others. Right? So this type of person is usually very selfish, doesn't really care or want to help others, doesn't really look for serious things. An example of this would be someone or a student who is always just trying to have fun, say things that are funny, not paying attention, and even more so when it refers to adults, it refers to things that are usually sinful. So an example of that would be drinking, gambling, using drugs, so on and so forth. Hedonists, all they want to do are find things that make them feel like a lot of pleasure. Okay, this is not a good thing. Hedonist. All right, the next one, hypothesis. Hypothesis. This word is used often in science. Scientists will often have a hypothesis to explain something. Okay, but usually this explanation requires some evidence. So if there's some event that occurs in the world and a scientist tries to figure it out, they might come up with a hypothesis based on their observations. Hypothesis. And the last word, impetuous. Impetuous. Impetuous means very impulsive, acting quickly without care or thought. So an impetuous person is a person who just does without thinking, acts without thinking, is very quick to do something, and probably does something too quickly where it might hurt someone, where it might be a poor judgment, poor behavior, so on and so forth. Sometimes we have students who are impetuous, who call out without even thinking, say things without even thinking, and that could be described as impetuous. Okay, so those are the last 10 words, 41 through 50. Use this to help you.